Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. We got a special episode of the Creative Cranium live on a Friday night. Please welcome my special guests, Rob Multari and John Holland. Welcome, guys. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's good to see you here.
awesome.
Good to see you. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the raving fans. I was telling you guys backstage, I had read this book, and for those that don't know, a raving fan is a type of customer who loves your work so much that they'll tell other people in their social circle, oh, you got to check out one of Rob's books. You got to check out John's, what he's doing now. And what I want to talk about is what kind of things can we try to reach that with our customers and our crowdfunding campaigns. I'm going to jump right into the questions. Let's start out with Rob. Rob, you got a current campaign running. What kind of special items are you using this time to try and attract raving fans?
Yeah, so aside from variant covers where they can choose what they'd like, I also have mystery boxes. I have swag, so I have like
tell us a little bit about the mystery box. Can you disclose what's in the mystery box?
Yeah. So I have two of them actually. One is a Snowpaw mystery box, which has a mystery graded copy of Snowpaw, as well as mystery variants of issues 1 through 3 and other merchandise, like mini figures and other stuff. And then I also have a Lone Wolf Comics mystery box, which is it's basically Nightwolf and Snowpaw, both series. They're all it's a mystery editions of issues 1 through 8 of Nightwolf and mystery 1 through 3 of Snowpaw, and a mystery CGC, either Nightwolf or Snowpaw. And then again with the merch and everything. Actually, I have I can show them right now.
Yeah, let's take a look at this thing.
Yeah, so
you were showing this earlier. It's really
yeah. So these are the boxes. You can see the difference in size.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The top one is the Snowpaw mystery box, and then the Lone Wolf Comics mystery box. So, and these, this has a $300 value, but I'm in the add-ons you can get it for $150, and this is a $500 value that you can get for $300. So nice. I'm also offering deals. So that's kind of like, I'm trying not to overcharge. I want people to be able to get stuff, and be able to enjoy it,
Nice. Well, it looks terrific. That's live on Kickstarter right now. That's Snowpaw 1 to 3. And I've been a backer of Rob's a couple of times. I definitely recommend this project. Let's move over to John. I'm just hearing about Death Rain for the first time. So John, before we jump in with this one, tell us a little bit about who will love your product. What type of customer?
This kind, if you're a fan of the old Image comics from the 90s, the original
I am.
this is very 90s influenced, very Image influenced. When you start looking at the artwork, the artist Travis was very influenced, and that's what we were trying to look at. His style is not just always like this, but he really loved the old Image comics, and he wanted to create something like that.
Yeah, sure.
So we're going for that Image vibe, or more the 90s vibe, because during the 90s there was a lot of really good comics out. Besides Image, Sandman was out, Hellboy, Sin City, and we've created a comic that basically this world Guyana is like reality is really up for grabs. There's demons, there's vampires, there's city part. Anywhere you walk through this planet, you don't know where you're going through. Like one part of it's demons, one part could be vampires, another part time could not, work like normal. So we're basically trying to set it up where we can tell any type of story that we want to in this world, because we're hoping this is going to be a continued feature, and we're going to continue to do it after this first issue gets backed and funded. Well, we've actually funded, so now we're just trying to make some extra money.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations to you. Yeah, I love all the 90s stuff, so I wish you every success with that one.
Thank you.
So let's jump back over to Snowpaw, right? So, Rob, how many Kickstarters have you done now?
So this would be number 13.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13.
And let me – oh, hey, you've already funded. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
A towering 380-some backers. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
Hey, and I wanted to mention I have met a couple of your coworkers, Mog Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what a sweetheart. They had me on.
Yes.
They got a draw stream they do over there, and they were real nice and supportive actually for one of our titles. So
Oh yeah, they're very good with that. Actually, I was on the show last night for their Thursday night. But yeah, no, Mog is great. She is an amazing person, amazing artist. I couldn't be happier with some of the stuff that she's been putting out. Her cover art, the pages, just in general, like it's
nice.
been a great run with her.
So let me ask you, how do you choose your teammates? You always have great teams on these books. How do you pick them?
So basically, like, I want to see something as a comic book fan that I would buy, right? So I wanted to get like the top notch art that that would fit with the genre. Where with Nightwolf, it's more of a dark urban fantasy, so I needed something that fit that. And Carlos Herrera, who is my illustrator there, fit that bill. And I found him through DeviantArt. And
Okay.
and then the
Okay, can you break it down for us? Who does what exactly? So Mog does
Mog does Snowpaw, Mog, and then our colorist is Bruna Costa.
Okay.
She's from Brazil. And then with Nightwolf, it's Carlos Herrera and Gat Melvin.
Gotcha.
And then I letter Nightwolf, and then Dave Lentz letters Snowpaw.
Okay, and like I said, I don't want to get too far off the subject, but I want to ask a production question. I'm very interested in how people make things. So I know Dave Lentz, a heck of a letterer, by the way, and I love
very
that guy.
good, yeah.
So, but now you're a letterer, and I think you're a great graphic designer. Why did you hire a letterer the second time?
So as you know, managing more than one title can be very daunting, and trying to get them out in a timely manner.
Right.
So the reason I chose, like, I decided to stick with lettering Nightwolf because I wrote the series years ago, right? So I'm also kind of tweaking the dialogue as I go, just to kind of spruce it up, make it a little bit more up to my writing standards now. Whereas Snowpaw, I'm actually writing on the fly, so each script comes out like, as I'm going. And so that's like the latest of what it's getting. So it was easier to decide, okay, this is the series that I'm going to hand over to another letterer. And Dave was highly recommended. Plus, he's a fellow Pennsylvanian. And,
nice.
So I thought, hey, perfect. He's a great guy, and I love working with him.
Rob, I thought I might see you at Comics Pro. I'm on the other end of Pennsylvania.
I wanted to attend, but that weekend was my daughter's father-daughter dance, and I was not missing that for the world.
Good for you. You were a good dad. Hey, everybody, please welcome to the show, Jeofrey Cotton. How you doing, Jeofrey?
Hey, Jeofrey.
It's good to see you. Can't hear you, though, unfortunately.
Hey, guys. Sorry I'm late.
That's all right, man. I saw the message. You got a little PC issue.
You can hear me?
Happens, I know. Yeah, I can hear you. So Can you hear us okay?
Okay, everything good? All right, cool. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, hey, if you want to drop me a link to your campaign in the private chat there, and I'll put it up, we'll talk about that a little. What we've been talking about is what types of things we would offer to customers on our campaigns. Let's be honest, we all kind of offer the same materials, right? And it's kind of hard to come up with new and inventive things. I kind of work with music a little bit, trying that. And there's some other writers that have tried writing short stories for customers and that kind of things. What kind of things have you tried, Jeofrey, with your crowdfunding campaigns?
Oh man, I've done quite a few things as far as experimenting goes. And only recently have I kind of started to kind of tap into the formula, I think, or just get better at graphic design and just kind of learning, by osmosis or whatever. And early on, though, let's see. So early on the first campaign, it was real simple. And that was the biggest one I ever did to this day. The first one I ever did was the most that I generated. And I had real simple, I didn't know what I was doing. So I did these little cardstock art print looking things, and they were basically just panels from the comic book, but they were cut wrong and it was awful, but they were cool. I mean, they worked, and I had some stickers and stuff like that. Recently though, aside from all I don't mean to say generic, but you know what I mean? Like there's like
I do. Yeah. And believe me, it's okay to speak frankly. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
So I would just mean to say that, like, I'm trying to get like a little more creative and go kind of beyond like a sticker or an art print or a keychain or anything like that, and so I've done a couple things. End of Man is a book that's been delayed for a long time, but it's finally almost here. It's my first sci-fi book, and I did some land together. I found the lanyards on Amazon, you know, for whatever they were, and got 100 of them. So the first 100 people that got in on that book or pre-ordered it or whatever, they're gonna all get one of those. And I think that's pretty fun because she actually wears it in the comic book. So it's kind of got that I don't know that it's like makes you, I don't know, kind of pulls you into there a little more. You know what I mean? And
Sure,
I
yeah,
did the
sure.
same thing with the new book for Cosa Nostra's Comrade. And it's got a flyer in it for Enzo Cipriani. He's got an Italian cafe in there. He does cannolis and Sicilian espresso and all sorts of cool stuff. And there's a flyer in there. It's actually it's meant to look like could be a real thing. You know what I mean? Kind of, I think
Hey, Jeofrey, I think you're freezing up on
into
us
the
a
world a
little
little bit
bit. Are you
more.
experiencing
Like
that,
for my
Rob?
wrestling book, I want to do like some bloody
Yeah.
ticket stubs or
Yeah.
something.
Right. Rob, excuse
Let me
me,
stop talking
Jeofrey,
for a
we're
minute.
losing you on the audio a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know if you can get a little closer to the Wi-Fi maybe or something. But in any event, let's move back to Rob. I think John's taking a break. So we were talking a little bit earlier about Snowpaw, which this is the one that has the, if I get it backwards, let me know. This is the one that has the Scottish flavoring, right?
Yes.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah. Yep.
let's steer back around to that. How did that come into it? Because you're not like a Scottish guy, right? Or are you? And I don't know it.
I'm very so I am a true mixed-blooded American. I'm 25% Italian, 25% Hungarian, and then I'm like everything else in Europe.
Gotcha,
So like on my mom's side, I am a little bit of Irish, Scottish, and Scotch Irish. So it's funny. So with Snowpaw, when I was first writing Nightwolf, I wanted to have a mentor, and I wanted to have a female werewolf, and I wanted to do something that I hadn't seen done before. I wanted to kind of give her an actual background. And so I decided to make her Scottish. One, I think that was also influenced by like Chris Claremont writing for like Wolfsbane and
yeah, sure. I get
Moira
that.
McTaggart, because I love to read the dialogue.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, you like accents and things.
Oh yeah. And so it was fun for me to do it and write her like that. So that's where she originally like developed from. And going further back into like the series, giving her more of a backstory when I was trying to write the first issue, I actually did do some of history on my Scottish family, and learned of like the Chisholms, which I actually kind of incorporated in the book. There I have where she's engaged to a Chisholm. And there's a castle that where my family way back in the day had like they herald over. So it was fun for me to kind of include that kind of like heritage into that as well.
Nice. That's a well done job. I like the dialogue that has the accents and something a little bit different, right? So, hey, John, welcome back. Let's move over to you. I want to talk about Death Reign. So, first of all, so you've done a couple of Kickstarters before.
I've did one Kickstarter before that did not succeed, but I screwed that Kickstarter up from the beginning. It's, all the failure of that first Kickstarter, I blame on myself. I just did a lot of things wrong. So hopefully I've learned.
Let's get an example. Yeah, I like to hear about the things that were done wrong. Can you give me an example of some things that were wrong?
I can give you a million things I've done wrong. But basically, I asked for too much money. I asked for almost like $5,000 on my first Kickstarter. And I knew going in, originally I was only going to ask for $1,500. And then like at the last minute, I was like, no, let me ask for more. And then my shipping on it, I asked for like, I literally, right before I hit the button to launch it, I got scared with the shipping because I've heard so many horror stories about people that have launched Kickstarters and ended up having to pay out of their pocket because of shipping. And I basically doubled the price of what I should have had on my shipping, which I know that turned a lot of people away. And those two, I think, really killed it. It just, like I said, there was a lot that I didn't know. I wasn't that great at formatting the page, things like that. But I've learned hopefully all of those lessons. For this one, like I said, we funded this Kickstarter, I think, within the first 3 days. So we did pretty well with this. Now we're
let me ask you this one. How do you first of all, you're the writer, correct?
Yes.
And are you the writer, creator, publisher? Or you're doing the whole schmear?
I'm the writer, co-creator of this product of Death Rain,
Gotcha.
and the publisher. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So how do you, this is one of my favorite questions. How do you decide what your, and this is coming to you too, Rob, if you want to start thinking about the math. How do you decide what the dollar amount is? Do you guess the number of backers? Do you just take a stab? Because there's a little bit of science and a little bit of art in that number.
Yeah,
right?
it's partly just a stab in the dark, but I looked at it that I figured the lower, you want to put a low price on it, but you don't want it to get too low, because if that's all like if you put like a $500 in, if that's what you fund for, unless you can make your comic for $500, you're kind of out of luck. So we put $2,500, which we figured was going to be enough to get the book published, get it printed up and shipped out and everything, which we kind of made a little mistake in that. And we were looking at the other night, I was figuring some things up, and I think it was going to cost us a little more because of some of the costs of the colorist and the letterer, because me and the artist both right now are working for free. We decided we're going to work, hopefully we'll make enough to get everything done and we'll make a profit on it. But,
right.
this is one of the few projects that, the artist and I are into it together. So I'm not having to pay him, because it's kind of like both of our creation.
Well, that's kind of cool to do it that way. So, hey, welcome back, Jeofrey. Let's move over to Cosa Nostra's Comrade, a new limited series. So you're writing this one. Jeofrey?
Yeah, partially. Can you hear me? My connection's all jacked up, man. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I think you have a slight delay.
Can you?
Yeah. So why don't you walk us through? Give us a quick
Yeah. So I'm just going to
pitch
talk
for Cosa
slow,
Nostra's
and I'm not going to
Comrade.
say a whole lot. Okay, sure. So it's set in the early 80s. A former Soviet soldier has moved to Brooklyn, New York, and he, by way of just life happening, he gets a job with the Italian mafia. That's basically in a nutshell what's going on there. It's a lot of fun for people that are going to like Boondock Saints, obviously Goodfellas and all the mafioso type of movies and Mob Tales and stuff like that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I put a lot into the design and preparing the Kickstarter. And when Jacob came to me, he had this idea, and I've kind of just helped him develop it a little bit for me. And in a written form, and it's coming together really nicely. I'm real satisfied with where we're at right now. So
it looks good, man. I do like gangster films and stuff. Now, Jeofrey, this is a little bit different for you, man. I was not aware of this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you you were doing a horror book last time we talked?
It is.
So I'm just going to ask you, why gangsters?
Yeah, I'm a horror guy, as it sounded fun, and I just did another book called Razor Wire McGuire that was about it's a dark side. It's like a dark take on like a small circuit wrestling, like pro wrestling in the Midwest, Southern, down here somewhere, like in old high school gymnasiums and stuff, where these guys are really trying to cling onto it, and but the heavyweight guy's a psychopath, and this idea was brought to me by somebody else too that I just met on Instagram, and they're looking for help to figure out where to go with this book. It was done. It was all written and lettered. It's gorgeous. All the artwork and everything's great. And I didn't have to touch it in that regard. Just to help him get him going on Kickstarter. And I enjoyed it. There wasn't as much money in it as I obviously would like there to be, because I put countless hours into these things, as you guys can attest to, I'm sure. And me being the kind of guy I am, I'll go back and look at something and change something that seems real petty. But it manages to it'll drive me crazy, and I'll just keep having to go back and forth. It's a lot of time that it takes to get one of these things done right. And so I'd like to be compensated a little better in the future, but for now, I'm happy helping. I'm happy helping people bring their dreams, their visions to life, because I was just in that position 2 years ago, and I didn't have anybody to do that for me. And I didn't necessarily ask, but we just kind of jumped into the deep end, and but it's nice to be able to do that. And also with this one, see, with Razor Wire, that's all Steven and Jordan's vision and story. With this one, with Costa Nostra, I've actually had a chance to come in and kind of co-develop and co-write it. And I'm, I'll do all the panel work and all the stuff I normally do for all my books. I'll letter it. Did all the covers, and we got some really neat covers. I got a metal cover. It's only 25 of them are going to get made for the Metal Gear Solid homage for a Solid Snake. And it came out really nice. And so I'm happy we got some cool stuff. We got stickers and all sorts of, different swag. And like we were talking about earlier, hopefully I'm not talking too fast and messing up the lag.
No, you're that's good, man. That part came out pretty smooth. All
right, good.
So let's circle back around to Rob. So Rob, when you're organizing your rewards for your campaign, let's start with this current one. First of all, off the top of your head, how many different reward levels are there? Just roughly. Like 50?
I'm pretty sure like I'm in the 20s with how many reward tiers.
Yeah, I know you have quite a few. And I saw that you did something kind of smart too, which you have some high-end rewards. Sometimes they say you got to have something for the high dollar backers.
Yeah.
So I guess, do you feel that there's how do I want to ask this question? Do you feel that there's a point of diminishing returns? Like I'm kind of similar in that I'm starting to have a lot of rewards, and I got to have large back catalog. Do you offer everything on every campaign, or do you like curate it? Well, you get 4 of the 8, or the
Yeah. So sort of like I usually I do like with the tiers, I do a build up, so it starts to stack. Like towards the high tiers, you can get like all of like the variant covers for Nightwolf and for Snowpaw. But I don't offer them individually in like the add-ons. So I do backer kit for my pledge manager after the campaign, so they can get, if they wanted to like wait and just get a specific cover or a specific issue, they can get that in the add-ons after the campaign's over. So I try to like kind of keep a lot my add-ons down low, but like I want to be able to offer as much as I can for like new people coming in or the high-end collectors as well.
Do you mind if I ask, did you keep your inventory there at your office or something? Or do you have like Comics Wellspring does that, the online store or whatever, where they stock it.
Yeah, I have a storage unit actually. I just purchased one, rented, I guess, starting a year ago, December. Before, I don't know if you remember, but being on live streams with me, I had like more boxes than I do behind me now. It was to the point where I was able to like make a throne out of these as many boxes I had. So my room was getting crowded, and I needed to move into a storage unit.
Gotcha. So, John, what are some of the high-end items that you have going on your campaign? Like, what would you say is some of your raving fan items? Like, we got variant covers, you got some custom artwork.
Yeah, we got a few things. We got one, we're offering original artwork. There's 2 different tiers for that. And
I love original. Do you mind if I ask, what is that, pages you're selling?
Yes. And the artist is doing it, old school style. He's actually drawing it, not digitally.
Right. Nice. I love that. And what is the rough price point for something like that?
Well, we actually just cut the price on it. We had 2 different original art. We had one with, an original page from the comic that we were offering, plus the 3 different covers. And we were offering that for $350. We just cut that down to $100.
Whoa.
So now you can get, so man, if you just take the 3 covers that's a part of that bundle, that's $60 worth right there. So basically you're paying $40 for a piece of Travis's art. Then we also had the original. Yeah. Then we also had the original cover, which is the double wraparound cover on the comic that we were offering for $700. And we just cut that down to $350, and that's going to be, that's a steal right now. Cause that's an awesome piece of artwork. And it's, it's the front and back cover. Then we've also got something that's a little different that, I've seen a few Kickstarters do, but we have a drawn in tier for $500. You can actually be drawn into
I got one of those.
Same here.
Yeah. And that's actually doing pretty well. We've already got 2 backers for it. And I'm actually talking to somebody right now. She wants to be drawn into it, but she like wants to kind of like choreograph her death in the comic, and going back.
Of course.
So,
well, it is fair to say that is a good twist, because it's kind of indicative that we need some kind of twist, because here, just on a random panel, 4 out of 4 of us have drawn in.
Yeah. So those are the two the biggest tiers we have, and then we've got the variant covers and different things like that. So we had a 24-hour an early bird special where we had Brian LeBlanc paint the cover of the pencils from Travis, and that went real well on the first day. So and we've actually got a few more covers, I think some more variants that we're going to actually add. We're trying to spice up the Kickstarter, because we're in that middle part where everybody says basically things die and it's killing us. I mean, it's just it's like we get one, and it's killing us. So we're trying to spice some things up and add a few more things to it and see if we can go into that last bit. With,
I like those. I like those black gutters on that page. Is that just an example, or is the book black inside?
That is just an example of it. Yeah.
Gotcha. I wondered about something like that. Rob, you have some of those too, don't you? Black pages?
Yeah. All of my Nightwolf books are the black gutters, and Snowpaw is white. We kind of going with the themes.
Yeah. Set them off. Why did you choose the black?
I personally like the look of a black page with like it helps to accentuate like especially if it's a dark story. Again, when with Snowpaw being a white book, it's a little bit lighthearted, a little it kind of goes with the mood. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. All right, man, we're going to circle back around to Cosa Nostra. So what was the germ of this idea, Jeofrey? Was it based on anything, or like how did you get the idea?
So this is one that somebody came to me with, and I forgot. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to really. I got to rambling and didn't get to expound on what I was trying to say earlier. I've been wanting to get into publishing more people's stuff, like become an actual legit publisher. You know what I mean? Not just somebody that makes comic books at his house and then prints them at Comics Wellspring. You know what I mean? Like I want to take it to the next level, so to speak. And so the only way to do that is to obviously to get involved with stuff like this. And the first one was successful. The Razor Wire McGuire wrestling book did really well. Those are going out as we speak, and it looks great. It's fantastic. So I wanted to try to do that again. You know what I mean? And especially with my horror stories. As you were talking about earlier, I'm more of a horror guy. That's what I really love. It's ready to move into number 2, but it's not ready. You know what I mean? Like I want to prepare that one a little bit better, because if it's anything I've learned after 10 of these things, it's that you cannot be prepared enough. You know what I mean? Like you want to have these things like ready to. It's real demanding, but nevertheless, the germ would have come from Jacob, and go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, how many per year are you going to release?
That's hard to say. I'm going on my 3rd year now that I've been creating and writing. I've branched out in a lot of different directions early on. I had the Awful Thoughts, the horror anthology. It did so well that I was just like inspired and motivated, and I just couldn't stop creating. And I was just building and just networking and all sorts of stuff. But because of that, though, it was to a fault. To a certain extent, it's to a fault, because when I have a book that, again, End of Man, the science fiction book that's coming out soon, it's been delayed for over a year. And I got to a point with that one where I couldn't do 2 Kickstarters at the same time yet. I think you have to have 5 of them under your belt or something like that. And so I was trying to figure out ways to get more than one going. You know what I mean? And like I was ready to rock, and it just didn't really take like I had expected. Because I sell comic books and buy them and clean them and press them and all that online already. I'm pretty well. I have a nice little network of people that I can lean on and holler at and branch out to and stuff.
I saw you were a presser. I used to be in the pressing business myself a little bit.
Yeah, my machine's right back there behind me. I've got them on my wall right there. I used to have 6 of them.
A t-shirt presser?
Yeah, more or less t-shirt press. So those guys you can take it as far as you want to take it. People do all sorts of crazy stuff.
You do try to keep it simple. Cold or hot?
Hot, and then they cool down and they stay in there for cold. But I was going to tell you guys the feature, having somebody cameo in the book is it's great. I saw that somebody do that, and I was like, that's a great idea. And I tried it on Roseville, my horror book, and sure enough, one of my buddies, shout out Orlando Padilla, he paid it. It was $500, and I've got him cameoed in there for number 2, and we're writing it, and I'm paneling it right now, and it's really cool to think about and to see it come to fruition. I don't know if you guys have actually had somebody that you've done it for like already, but you know, to see all this take effect is pretty neat. So I'm excited, and hopefully Aaron, the artist for this one, we'll get Orlando looking right, and it'll be really cool, you know, because it's not him as the character. He's a whole new fake kind of created character, and he's actually got some lines and stuff, you know. So it's gonna be fun to see how that
it's nice
comes out.
if they are a part of the story a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right, in some capacity, and he is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was gonna tell you. You said that, Cliff Nostra, real quick. I won't take up too much time, but the idea. I just kind of wanted to help Jacob develop his idea. He kind of had this baby that he wanted to do something with, and I'm trying to help him come around and take care of it, nurture it, and help it grow. You know what I mean? And that's all it really is. And I enjoyed the concept, what he had going on. I've always liked mafia stuff and just darker drama kind of stuff with a little action in it. And so this seemed like a good opportunity to do that. And here we are. You know, we're close to getting funded, so hopefully we get there.
Well, go check that out, viewers. That's live right now.
Please do.
Let's move back around to let's see where we leave off. Not that one. Sorry, I'm not the best producer. It takes me a while to get used to the buttons. I love the color scheme on this. This is Bruno Costas.
Bruna Costa. Yeah, she's from Brazil, and yeah, she's an amazing colorist. I mean, the colors, like the first time, I rarely have to tell her to change anything. She comes off right away with, these gorgeous colors.
And I like the, it's kind of like thick line work, which is kind of like not really too much like Mog, right? Is that
yeah. Mog does like, she'll do thick and thin, like she's very detailed. Sometimes like, especially with backgrounds, sometimes I'm like, okay, we need to focus more on the foreground.
Actually, that's a good quality. I like an artist that focuses on the backgrounds. I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, I that's for sure. Like, I love being able to see. Like, I want the world to be immersed and people to feel like they're actually there. And the detail that she puts into it is amazing.
How long does it take to turn over a page like that colored?
So if neither of them have a lot going on, I would say probably about. Mog probably like 3 days, and Bruna 3 days.
That's a beautiful page right there.
Yeah, that's some nice color, and I like that color.
Awesome looking, man. That's great work right there. Wow.
Yeah,
it looks really nice. Well, hyper realistic kind of look to it.
Yeah, nice job on this project.
Yeah,
and like I say, if you're that's a pretty one.
The bottom looks like Legend of Zelda.
And of course, you're putting up lettered pages.
Yes. I want to be able to give people example of what they're going to read. Like they're picking it up at a comic book store and flipping through the pages, and just kind of give them the full. This is what you're seeing for each issue. So
that's a good idea.
I think there's like 4 pages per issue that I have up there for examples.
I try to do that too. That's one thing that I usually have a couple pages that are not lettered though, because that's usually the last of the last steps. So let's move back to
4 pages,
Death Ring.
lettered pages up.
Yeah, and how long does it take you guys to turn over a page, John?
It's kind of hard to say because everybody's been doing other projects while we're trying to get this done. Travis was finishing up some paid projects he was doing. Our colorist, one day he did something like in like 2 days he got it colored, and then another day it took him a week to get it colored because he was having to do in between projects and stuff. So pretty much everybody's finishing stuff up so we can concentrate on this.
I see what you mean about the 90s flavored. These are some action packed.
Yeah, it's cool. Looks good.
And did you say these are oversized books too, John?
No, they're regular size books. They're going to be regular size.
How many pages?
When I first started publishing, it's going to be 48 pages.
That's what I meant. It was when I said oversized. I'm sorry, I meant like they used to say 40 pages was giant sized. Yeah, nobody says that anymore.
Yeah, when I first started self-publishing, the comics I printed were magazine size, and that was kind of an accident that the first one came out like that, and I decided to go with it. But that really didn't do well for me. It wasn't long before I decided to go back to regular comic book size. Because comic book people want the comic book size.
They don't fit in the
Yeah,
short
they want
box,
to be
man.
able to put them in their long boxes.
Right.
Right, exactly. I'm telling you, that's how it is. I have 2 magazines, and that's only because Baby Yoda is on them. Other than that, I don't. And then
I've
magazines
said
are cool,
before
man.
that the reason people don't, I personally find original art pages somewhat hard to sell. Even if the art is fantastic, backers are sometimes slow to pick up these amazing pieces because they don't know who the person is. And I've said before, one of the ways that would increase that is if only there was some way that it was a collectible size. Because as soon as you release something that's the size of a comic, I seem to sell those right away. That's true for prints too. All right, Cosa Nostra.
Yeah,
Got some nice perspective.
I've never had luck.
It's funny that you guys. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, John. You can
I was going to say it's funny that you guys. Oh, it's funny that you guys should mention the.
I was just saying.
Some interference. You go ahead and talk.
Red light, green light.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just saying that I've never had luck selling prints with any of my stuff. I've tried to sell prints of the covers and artwork and stuff. And, you know, I don't know because I'm the writer that the prints don't sell or what, but I've never had very much luck selling prints at conventions or anything.
Gotcha. Well, let's work on that question a little bit. I'm the same way. I'm a writer, and I have not been selling prints at conventions with too much success. You know, a few, 20, maybe 20 prints over a weekend. Rob, how about you? Do you sell prints at conventions?
I do. Probably not as much as the books themselves. Like, so if I sell like, 20 prints, that's probably fairly, accurate at a con. But if, what's nice about selling the prints, though, even if you sell 20 of them, for let's say like I'll have 11 by 17 and I have 8 by 10s. The 8 by 10s I sell for 5 and the 11 by 17s I sell for 10. The price point on like printing those out, the profit margin's way better than the actual book.
Yeah.
So really, so I'll just take them just because it helps with the profit margin.
Gotcha. Jeofrey, how about you? Do you sell prints at conventions, Jeofrey?
Yes and no. Again, I haven't really had a lot of really extra cool stuff yet that I can kind of just put out on the table, like next to my books. Like, check that out. You want to pay for that too? So usually I'll like give it away. If it's Kickstarter leftovers and stuff, I'll throw some stickers out there and some with my business cards and some neat stuff. But now I'm getting to a point where I've actually got some pretty cool stuff that I would maybe like to try and sell, like the flyer that we've got for Cosa Nostra. It's worked really hard on it, and I think it's really neat. And if somebody gets into the story, I think they could definitely relate and be willing to throw me a couple bucks at least for it. You know what I mean? And but yeah, not being the artist is a little different in my opinion, because I'm being the writer. If you're actually the one that's drawing it, people would like, yeah, he's the artist. You know what I mean? They relate to that. They connect with that a little more. So I think that's definitely would be a huge plus and for an artist to do it. But
one of the things I've had
sure. But for me, I don't know. I just kind of get.
John, go ahead. You had something you wanted to add there?
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the things I've kind of got away from prints too is I just have too much stuff on my table, and prints take up so much space that I can't fit everything on my tables now as it is. I've got 3 dozen comics. I think I'm selling T-shirts now. I'm selling a lot of other stuff. So prints have kind of got pushed away since they weren't really that big a seller for me.
So a good way to maximize prints is to put them in one of those print books. Just they can open up and they can flip through them. Because I used to, I had the same problem when I first started out. I had one issue, and then I had prints covering the table.
Yeah.
So eventually, once the table started getting filled up, I had left the books out and just let them flip through. And then when they say, "Oh, do you have this?" I'm like, "Yes, I do," and pull it out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I sell prints a little bit, like I was saying.
Very good idea.
But I also think that I do better with the ones that are slightly smaller, because even customers at the convention, unless you're a print buyer, they're kind of inconvenient to even carry around. Like there's not even really a bag the right size for the print.
Well, it's nice too. Yeah. So another trick around that is make sure you have like the top loaders, like the hard top loaders. And I do have 11 by 17 bags with a handle so that they can carry it. And people people are always asking for bags, so you can get them really cheap in bulk through like Uline. And I mean, if people like will come to the table just for the bags, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I heard you got bags. Oh, let me check out your stuff." You know, so that kind of stuff, like having things that other people don't, helps to like, you know, also bring people to you by word of mouth.
Yeah. And by the way, it's genius to bring bags, because that's what I've been doing. I take bags and stamp my logo on the bags. And then you say to somebody at the convention, "Do you need a bag?" And of course, everybody needs a bag.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So that,
well, I actually had bags made with my logos on it. The logo takes up most of the size of the bag. So when people walk around with it, you see, and it's a red bag. So when you walk around, you see that that logo. I actually at one convention, I had like a lot of, when I was talking about making those magazine size comics, I had like a couple boxes of them left over that I figured I'm never going to, I actually reprinted it as a regular comic book size. So I gave them away at the convention. I got with the convention and, you know, they gave it away at the front. So everywhere you looked at that convention, you seen one of my, and I gave it the bags. I put them all in one of my bags. So you just seen my bags all over that convention.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice.
I wanted to get into trying to do like customized boxes. Like, so when you do the bundle, it's like a real deal bundle. Like you get
Rob has those.
You know, like in a customized box and everything, you open up like Big Time Collectibles and all these bigger, like Your Friendly Neighborhoods, whatever all those guys said. Yeah, there you go. Just like that. Is that yours, Rob? That's dope. Yeah. I've got some here from Jamie Tyndall that my buddy sent me some of his exclusives to sell and stuff, and they're really cool. And it kind of got me thinking. And my buddy Jacob wanted to do that, and he's the guy that I'm working with on this one. He took initiative and got these done. Speaking of like cool merch and stuff, it's kind of, let me see. Go
ahead, I'll give you the solo.
It's the Nintendo 64 game box, and they came out awesome, man. They're super cool. And there's only a few. They're very limited. They're only with the certain tiers that have the metal cover, I think it is. But there's only like 25 of them.
That's a good one, Jeofrey. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for.
Yeah, these are pretty cool too. The little enamel pins. I mean, but they're, you know, everybody knows about the enamel pins and stuff. But they came out really nice too, like a gunmetal gray. And they just say "Comrade" on them. And so yeah, we do got some cool stuff for this one, man. I'm excited to see where we go and what people think of the story. You know, and just trying to diversify a little bit, because it's not really a horror book. You know, it's definitely not that. It's like, you know,
right. Well, let's change up the line of questioning. We're almost to our last couple of questions. So if money was no object, I'll jump back to Rob here. Because Rob, I got to say, you kind of take the lead as far as merch. And, you know, I've known you for a couple of years now, and you've always kind of been that way. I think it's because you got a graphic design background, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, it's difficult for the average writer, I would say, to come up with ideas like the custom box we had, which you loved. I think that would make a raving fan. I love Jeofrey's Nintendo box, but I'm not really wired to think of that kind of stuff. So if money was no object, you're independent millionaire comic book creator, what reward would you give to people that is something unforgettable?
This probably doesn't cost as much as I think as it does, but like my audience is, I call my wolf pack, right?
Yeah.
And I have a logo that I made into a sticker and it says wolf pack, and it's like a three-headed wolf. And you know, basically I was giving those out for a while. But I would love to give like embroidered patches.
Oh, nice.
And hand those out, like give those to everybody.
That'd be pretty cool.
I like that idea.
Then that way they could put it on, like, you know, shirts, coats, whatever.
Yeah, like a member of the club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, John, how about you? If money was no object, what would be your ultimate reward to give to the followers?
I don't know. I've been dipping my toe into t-shirts, but you know, t-shirts can get to be really expensive really quick.
Fast,
yeah. But that's actually helped me a lot. It's actually helped me at a lot of the conventions too, because you know, I've been finding, you know, I pay $10, $12 to make a t-shirt and I can sell them for $25. So, you know, my profit margin's a lot higher than, you know, a $5 comic book. And you got to sell a lot of $5 comic books to make, you know, to make money back from your table.
Right.
But
can I ask you quick, is that the price point on your book?
The ones that I've self-published up to this point, that on the Kickstarter, no, the Kickstarter is $20.
Gotcha.
You know, but like I've been printing books before I did Kickstarter, you know, I would self-publish, and then I would sell those at $5. You know,
I asked that because generally
I've
a lot
been
of
doing
people
a lot
talk
of
about
stuff.
$5 as the price point for a book.
Mm.
And realistically, we're headed toward a world that's going to have a $10 price point for a floppy. That's my opinion.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost
I
there
think
now.
too, it
with the
depends
Marvel
on where
and
you
DC
are.
books.
Yeah, like for like Kickstarter, it makes sense to have the price point higher because you know, you also have the shipping, you have to, and then the rewards, the bonus rewards that you know you're paying for, as well as if you bundle it with your digital. So that usually makes sense to be like between 15 and 20, depending on like what it is for a standard cover. But at cons, like you're not getting all that, right? So it's okay to sell that same you know retail standard for $5.
Yeah,
Plus
I
you're
agree.
giving con goers a better price, you know.
Yeah, volume discount.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey, how about you? I got to hit you with that.
And a lot of people that can. I think people at a Kickstarter.
Hey, so Jeffrey, you get the last crack at this question. What if money was no object? What reward would you offer the backers?
If money was no object, two things I can think of that come to mind. One of them would be kind of cool about. I've heard stories before of them making certain print runs and then burning, like only keeping like, let's say 10. Like you have to do a minimum print run, right, for like 25 copies most of the time from anywhere you go, right? Let's say you only keep one of those and you destroy the other 24. Somebody's going to get a 1 of 1. You know what I mean? Sign it, whatever you want to do. But I mean, that's a really cool trophy right there. Beyond that though, man, like, I don't know, maybe I'm tooting my own horn, but like, I'd like to think that somebody wants to hang out. So how about we go do lunch or something, you know? If there's money's no object, I'll fly you out to Houston, man.
Yeah, actually, that's not a bad
cool
idea.
Yeah.
In my experience, people like to meet the creators. That's something I always.
For
my books
sure,
always
man.
include.
Well, I mean, do something special like that, maybe at a con, like
I will say that in my case, if money was no object, I would want to do uniforms, like military style apocalyptic uniforms that would tie in a little bit to a cosplay thing, because sometimes cosplayers are an element of the culture that we work in. So, hey, guys, we're almost to our time. So I want to take a last second here and spend a couple of minutes on each project. And to tell us about it, you can give us sort of your 10-second pitch. Actually, you've got about 3 minutes. But I want to start out with Snowpaw. And I've just been looking at some of these pages because they're just so beautiful. But Rob, tell us once more about Snowpaw and why we should drop everything we're doing and buy it.
Yeah, so Snowpaw is a story that takes place in the 19th century Scotland about a fierce heroine with an adventurous spirit who nearly gives into the social expectations of her time. But a trite fairy tale ending is not meant to be. As Cyrilla McKinley discovers her werewolf lineage, her eyes are open to the existence of supernatural beings and creatures of fantasy for the first time. It's basically a book. This farm girl, is been betrothed to this rich man's son to save her family farm. And, we show that, that she was born a werewolf. She didn't know this. And, her family is attacked by werewolves and it triggers. And from there we discover her path of how to, discovery of being a werewolf in the 19th century and what that means, and opening up to, these other creatures that she's never seen before.
Nice professional pitch, Rob. And, I want to tell the viewers, like I said, I've backed a couple of Rob's projects. They're very high quality. The production elements rival any DC Marvel image book. And he's got a long history of fulfilled campaigns. And let's see if we can get him a couple of raving fans tonight for Snowpaw. It's over on Kickstarter Live right now. Thanks for coming on the show, Rob, so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So let's jump over to John. So I'm just hearing about Death Reign for the first time. Of course, this is a fan for fans of 90s comics. John, give us the pitch one more time and tell us why we should be buying this book immediately.
Yeah, actually, so on Earth, some of the cities on Earth are disappearing, and they're reappearing on Gehenna, this planet that's basically full of demons and vampires and monsters and everything else. So, and the demons want to kill the humans as they're coming in. And we've got the three heroes. We have Jericho Black, who has some mysterious tie-ins to Earth. Then we have Allison, who was a demon and now is trying to reform herself. And then we have Steve the Death Machine, who is basically just trying to prove that he's not a monster. And they're fighting the demons and the monsters and trying to get the humans to a safe place on the planet.
Nice. Yeah, this looks like a terrific book. When you were mentioning it earlier, I loved all those things. So let's try and get some backers on that project. We'll get some people to take a look at it. I think you got a nice look there on this book.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
If
And in
you
closing,
like Image, you'll love the artwork on that book.
It's
definitely got that Silvestri top cow kind of feel, man. It's dope. I like it.
Yeah, it sure does. In the best way. In the best way. Kind of dig this cover, man. Check that out. I love the gangster vibe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Me against the world, baby.
That's really cool.
So yeah, that one was a lot of fun. I've done several hip hop covers because I used to rap back in the day and many moons ago. And so I've always loved hip hop and did the homage covers when I found out that comic books are doing that, and Marvel had a whole line of it, you know, and
I remember that.
I tried to have a little fun with those. Yeah, I tried to have a little fun with those. I've done a couple of them. So the first one I did was really popular, DMX. So Cosa Nostra's Comrade, though, I don't want to give away too much because we're trying to leave the exposition to a minimum early on. But you got a former during the Soviet Union's reign, still in the early 1980s. This guy comes from over there. We don't really know a whole lot about him, and he's just trying to make his way though, and gets involved with the Italian mafia, and they go from there.
Nice.
And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's definitely an R-rated type of story. Got the Sopranos feel, and I wanted to add a little like Boondock Saints kind of stuff going on there with the way it's paced and the way the panels work with the story. You mentioned Rob, I think it was, talked about language and lettering when you do dialogue, and how people sometimes will go to the extremes, like the Scottish accent. It's a hard one to kind of get right, especially when you're writing it, typing it, I'd assume. But I'm trying to do some cool stuff like that with these mobsters and the Russian having these strange language barriers where they might not necessarily understand what each other is talking about from time to time. But I don't know how to explain that beyond that. But I'm going to try to have fun with the lettering on this one for sure, man. Because I love wise guys and how quick-witted they are, and just the random like learning about what some of the stuff that what they're saying, what it means, and hopefully being able to translate that to other people that might not know, you know, have some good time with it.
Nice. Well, it looks great, Jeofrey. I wish you every success with that project. One last quick question before we go. So we're all writers on this panel, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So let's quick go around the room. Rob, what do you use as a writing tool? I'm using a Google Drive. Do you use any kind of software or anything like that?
You mean for writing or for storing?
Script.
I use Microsoft Word.
Okay, gotcha. John, how about you?
I write out longhand and then I just transfer it to Word.
Oh, interesting. I sometimes write longhand.
Yeah, every now and then I'll write directly to the computer, but mostly I write longhand first. Just it's easier for me, and then I just take that and I can kind of edit as I go when I put it into Word.
Gotcha. Jeofrey, how about you? What do you use?
Man, my style is probably very unorthodox, or my approach. I just kind of freestyle it. I don't ever write anything down and hold it. Most of the writing takes place in my head when I'm writing, when I'm doing the panel work and trying to show where the story is going. And my head is processing that. And so when I get the artwork back, as long as it's on point with what we've got, everything's lined up. When I go in to fill in those panels and create the speech bubbles and all that, it'll just kind of come to me. And then I'll have to kind of work through it, you know, repeatedly to kind of make sure I didn't say the same thing in this page, you know, or kind of lean on that too hard, and make sure that it flows right from one page to another. And I'm doing music and stuff in the past. I think has helped me with that. But it's a very strange style. Like I don't think I'd ever have a chance to get a job for like a Marvel or a DC.
But how do you get
like
the initial thing? You skipped a part though. How do you get the idea to the artist before he gets the page?
Oh, so I storyboard it and I give them these really crappy stick figures that are like the hardest things. If you looked at these, you'd be like, what is this? And they're just all over the place. But I try my best, and but I give them a very thorough descriptive narrative of what's going on from panel to panel. And then Aaron, the guy that's doing my Roseville book, he doesn't really do sketch pencils and stuff. He just goes at it. And so I'm going to get it, and that's what it's going to be. And he can maybe alter it a little bit. But like with Tom, who's doing Costa Nostra, we've been doing this same song and dance for a while now. And he does pencils. And then if the pencils are okay, like you guys know, then move on to the ink. And from time to time, though, you hit a little snag and got to improvise. But that's part of the fun, so.
Gotcha. All right. Well, wonderful. That is an unorthodox approach. Thank you guys for sharing your time and knowledge on the show. I'm always super interested, as you know, to hear how people made things. And it's one of the ways that I learn it. So I'm very grateful for you guys to come on the show and share it.
How do you do it, Timothy?
Thank you.
I'm I guess you'd say a classic script writer. I don't use Final Draft or anything like that, but I use a Google Drive and I type everything out with details, and I do all my own, camera angles and storyboards and stuff like that. I'll occasionally do thumbnails with stick figures, but not too often. And I try to be a little more collaborative than some. Since you kind of mentioned it, I should probably give a quick shout out, which is that tonight is digital release night for Water Wars 2288. The Ultimate Edition is winging its way to mailboxes right now to hundreds of customers. So thank you for your support, everybody. If there's any problems with the files or anything like that, please let me know. But for you guys, best of luck for your campaigns. I hope we can drum up a couple of customers for you. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.